Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. All right, good evening, people. Once again, just automatic's not working. Okay, how are we, guys? Start of another week, and it's been a pretty action-packed weekend, isn't it? If you're going to look at what's gone on with this idiot called Albo, and he's being hailed a hero over there at in the UK, guys, with his mates Starmer and Mark from Canada. So he's defending democracy itself. It's unbelievable. Then he visits a mosque in Dubai on the way home. And, yeah, guys, I think you know where it's all heading, don't you? It's getting right out of hand. We got Optus and Telstra having problems, but Optus was out down here in Dapto, actually, over the weekend. So Dapto's made the Wollongong the Brave, Dapto, the Arnie Jack show. If anyone knows what I'm talking about there, you'll some good memories, guys. Thin Lizzy, Arnie Jack. I'll never forget them days, especially when the guys come from Wollongong, yeah. All right, so going around the traps, we got a little bit of stuff out there, guys. So Shell Harbour Council down our way, guys, proposes tiny home planning pathway in New South Wales first. The 15-minute cities are well on the way with the agenda, guys. It's all Labor contingent down along this coastline here, like where it is most other places. And, yeah, they are going to be pushing your smart cities. So there's Shell Harbour coming into it right now. You know, the things we're finding, guys, this is off topic, okay, but deep in southern China, they found this big, like, sinkhole, and this thing's insane. It's got a forest down there inside and everything. So just what we're actually finding in remote places. I watched another guy called, I think it's Desert Drifter on, it must be TikTok. And that guy's out in the middle of the Arizona or somewhere like that in America, coming across these insane, like, places and, you know, like, really crazy stuff, guys, that we haven't seen before. You know, we're seeing a lot of that from the Grand Canyon, different places. Yeah, and I think it's really it's really good that we're getting exposure to a lot of these things. I'd like to be getting exposure on a lot more stuff. Who's responsible for Australia's growing homelessness problem? Well, obviously, guys, we know who that is. All right, that's the government. And I do feel it's coming a time where we really need to let this government know, it's but I think that is coming, guys. I think we're going to congregate and look, Bosie said it. All right. Just while we're here, and then I'll come in. I don't know if Caz has finished sharing, has she, Mel? Okay. I'll come in 2 secs. Caz, you can come in whenever you like, darling. I know I'm in there. Police scale back the manhunt for accused cop killer accused, Desi Freeman. So, again, it's not all going their way, guys. It's just definitely not going the way that they would have liked to have seen it go. All right.
Look, amazing things are happening. No, amazing things are happening, though. Every single person that I know at the moment, guys, just show me by just giving me a thumbs up. But do you know of normies that are researching the Charlie Kirk and the Erica Kirk situation? Because I'm getting normies. Normies are sending me information, and I'm like, whoa, they've turned into anons. It's like almost overnight. All of these people have turned into anons. All normies have turned into anons, and they're doing their own research. And they're looking into it, and they're going, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. And it's just like, whoa, this is pretty interesting. Yeah, so
I like your comment in there, Lee. Get 5 million to Canberra, it's over. I tell you what, we stopped 5 million working for a week, and maybe in the background, there could be some rumblings coming like that, guys, where it's time for us to make a stand. But I'm not going to break that open yet, but just be prepared, guys, because you want this country back. There is a way to get it back. And as much as I love Italy, right, from all the Paul and Goz and Robbie Giraldi and all the lads, all right, that come out from Italy, I love you guys, but when you knocked us out of the World Cup, I've really had a really bad taste in my mouth about Italy. But I got to turn that around now, because Italy is showing the world how you can do this, guys, and it's not going to be a short process. You got that? Bring it in, Caz, will you?
Paying attention to what's going on in Italy, do they? The entire country's on a general strike, and I mean all the ports, all the factories, everything is shut down. People refusing to go to work for a week because they're tired of Italy's government supporting, that country that if you talk about, your video doesn't go anywhere. So the people of Italy decided to stand up, and they went on a strike. They're supposed to be on strike for a whole week, and the entire country is screwed right now because they're on strike. And that's why Italy sent those 2 warships to go, defend that flotilla. It's not because Italy suddenly grew a conscience and their government suddenly cares. No, it's because the people of Italy have made a stand. They've shut down the entire country with a general strike. And the media here really doesn't want you to know that. They don't want you to know how effective it is if all of a sudden everybody agrees to stop going to work for a week. They don't want that idea getting out at all. And that's why none of the Western media has mentioned Italy at all. Fox isn't talking about it. MSNBC is not talking about it. CNN's not talking about it. You name it, no news media is talking about it. Because they're all corrupt and bought and paid for by the same billionaire class who wants to make sure you don't get any funny ideas.
Yeah. Now, I have got a clip in there, and if Caz hasn't got it tonight, I'll run it tomorrow night, guys. But it's a guy just saying his opinion on what could happen in the first. And look, a week ain't going to do it, guys. But he's talking the first 30 days, you know what I mean, of a total national shutdown. And it's a really good video. It's his perception on it, all right? But if we don't listen to stuff like that, that gives us little avenues to start thinking about, guys. But I do believe with what I've seen with this puppet show that, and from talking to some people around and that are supposedly in high positions in our society but have lost a lot of respect over the last 5 years, I would say, we're blue, that things are changing. All right. And these guys are understanding too, so I do believe that if we, the people, actually do the right thing, right, which is stop funding these bastards, all right, because all we're doing is letting them child traffic and do whatever else they want and bring in more tyranny. So if we can maybe get this together, guys, all right, and there's a great date coming up. I'm not going to mention anything, but, there's a time coming where we might just have to go, that's enough. And as I was going to say, Bosie said this 4 years ago when we got to Canberra, all right, and he said, I'll tell you what, when this is over is when the country's ready to lay its tools down, all right, and then we win. And I'll tell you what, I think he was right on the mark. It's the problem is getting that done. But Italy's showing us now. So we're going to share that around. We're going to let other people know what Italy are doing, guys. All right. And maybe getting now the conversations out there in the stratosphere, we can ask the good Lord to share this one. And maybe we can slow this country up and then do what we need to do. So let's just think about that. Because, the only way to stop the beast is to starve the beast. We've been talking about it for a long time. Yeah, we're funding our own demise. You're right, Belinda. Yeah. We got the governors, we want thousands down there, guys. We're working on that to get something done, or people in the background are working on that. I'm just the voice, guys. I do chat to these people and that, obviously, but the people that are out there doing it are the people that need the recognition for it. And Belinda and Frank and Steve and all the rest of them up there, they're onto this, all right? They're right onto it. And we're going to get bigger, guys, and we're going to make a move. Go, Caz.
Yeah, no, look, we got heaps out. Shout out again to Renegade Rosie. She was out again on the weekend.
A South Korean study has been revealed. They did a study of 8.5 million South Koreans for 1 year post-COVID vaccination. Sadly, they found that these people had a 27% higher risk of cancer. The most common cancers that have been found are lung, prostate, thyroid, stomach, colon and breast cancer. It's estimated that by 2028, big pharma vax industry will be worth $153 billion. They're protected from liability because they're not prepared to expose the risks. With that amount of money, we're working towards every one of these people who's been injured getting a very good compensation from that rapacious industry that owes so many so much.
Now, that was in the web bots, and they've just lost their funding. They've lost their liability. They've lost that. They can now be held liable, which is really interesting.
Well, at our age, we can make it a full-time job, Charles, and we probably have. I have made it a full-time job. Not that I'm getting anything out of it. It's the worst-paying job I've ever had. It's absolutely zero. But, we got to do it, guys. We just got to push. But, we got to come together now. We've been, you've been doing this for a long time now, and it's time now for everyone to get ready, right, to be able to stand down for at least a week. I think it'll take longer than a week, but it doesn't matter how long it takes, all right, because what it is your life, your future, all right? So we need to stand.
Drew Pavlov, he has outrageously, from the ABC, put this together and is correct.
ABC News are promoting the idea that having children is evil, is morally evil. The Australian public broadcaster, paid for with your taxpayer money, is promoting the idea that having children is evil. They're promoting the idea that human beings should send themselves to extinction. They're saying that you shouldn't have children because it's evil to do. And then the next day, the ABC will tell us that we need more migrants in this country because people just aren't having children. They'll say, we need to have infinity migrants because people aren't having children. They're telling people not to have children so that they can then flood the country with migrants and just completely change the demographic character of the country and completely just make Australia a foreign country. This is sick. Why do these people hate themselves so much? Why do these people hate Australia so much? Why do they hate civilization so much? Why do they hate everything that is beautiful and good in the world? Having a family, having children is a beautiful thing. And they hate it because they absolutely hate life. They are just filled with self-loathing. They are so angry at the fact that they were born white, that they were born Australian. They're so angry about that. They're so just filled with hatred. And it's a sick way of being. It's a sick way of living in the world. Normal people don't think like this. 99% of human beings on the planet don't have this level of self-loathing and self-hatred and this sort of drive towards civilizational suicide. It's just white people in the West who hate themselves this much. Why? Why is it the case? It's so mentally ill.
It is mentally ill. They are mentally ill. They are mentally ill.
Yep.
Anyway.
The left are showing that. The left are showing that all around the world. You see the ones in Germany in front of the cops over there dressed up as dogs or something, or mouse or rats or whatever they were, barking and carrying on. And like, it's just incredible, mate. You know, the left is. But anyway, that's what the devil does. You know, he sends people's minds crazy. Yep.
Now, just on that, Stephen Chavora has done a brilliant speech to the British Council of Australia, and guys, it's over on Twitter. Go and search it out. He's actually, it's a fantastic speech. It's really good, and it's just basically, he says it's not just about demographics; it's also about the loss of the culture, and he presents multiple really good arguments for what we're facing, and why it's really important to stand now. And it is important because we're seeing all sorts of crazy, like, look at this.
Machete ban is now in full force, complete with its utterly absurd machete disposal bins and all of the nonsense that goes around the public messaging of it. And of course, it hasn't really done anything to reduce violence at all in Victoria. But what it has done is given bureaucrats more to do. And if there's one thing Victorian bureaucrats love, it's exercising power. And can you believe this story crossed my desk and I had to get Nick Demetto MP onto my show to talk about it because the Victorian government has seen fit to reach out into Queensland with its machete ban. I couldn't quite believe it at first, but I looked and verified, and sure enough, Nick Demetto MP joining me from Queensland. This is true. The Victorian government is trying to intimidate a Queensland gun shop. Why?
They certainly are. And the fact is, there's been a warning notice sent to a Queensland firearms dealer saying that they've breached their advertising standards in regards to advertising machetes on their website.
Look, that's a really good report. We'll leave it there. But it's like, this is the kind of crazy that we are dealing with, you know. And then in the meantime, you've got like Albo swatting around overseas, you know, and Two Worlds Collide. He's put this together on it.
In UK over the weekend with Keir Starmer and Canada's PM Mark Carney. Three leaders who are running their countries into the ground with mass immigration, the green energy scam, woke DEI policies, and mountains of debt. And now they're standing shoulder to shoulder telling us that the threat is the rise up of the far right. Right, completely ignoring energy bills, the cost of living crisis, and everything that is dividing this country. No, they just want to label common sense people as far right. Albo even called Nigel Farage's Reform Party as divisive. What a moron. Let's take a step back. 15 years ago, One Nation, well, they were seen as the right. They were strong on borders, who love their country and culture. Today, well, they're painted as a far extreme right, even dangerous. I just think they're more common sense. 15 years ago, the Liberals, well, they were actually conservatives. They stood for family values, budgets in balance and stability. Today, well, they've bunked up so close to the Labor and Greens, you can't even tell them apart. 15 years ago, Labor, well, they were centre, maybe a little bit left-leaning. They were representing workers, families, tradies, your everyday Aussies. Today, they sell you out to the green billionaires, foreign interests, and everyone with a dollar in their pocket. They've slid so far left that they're basically the Greens. I don't even know what they are, but they definitely don't answer to the Australian people. And the Greens, well, 15 years ago, they were left-wing. And they were okay back then. At least you know what they stood for, mostly the environment. But today, they've completely lost it. They're not just the left, they're like the radical left. They're obsessed with ideologies, extreme policies, and even Labor would have laughed them out of Parliament a few years ago. So don't let this wording trick you from Albo. The people haven't changed. The political class have shifted the goalpost. What used to be mainstream, common sense, and normal is now branded as a far right, And this reeks of panic from Albo. And Albanese can see what's happening overseas. If the UK went to the polls tomorrow, Reform wouldn't just win, they would completely wipe the floor with Labor and Liberal. And that's why you're hearing this language shift, right? It's the same playbook that the Democrats used in America. They couldn't defend their record or their terrible policies, so they started calling the other side Nazis. And it's happening here too. Just look at this recent article released about Andrew Hastie. One article literally said, it shouldn't need staying but steer clear of Nazis. That's not debate, that's slander. And this type of rhetoric is dangerous. In America, it's the climate of this language that led to Donald Trump being shot and Charlie Kirk getting assassinated. Like, how aren't these people held to account for what they write and say? When you throw around words like Nazis, you paint a target on people's back. So here's my message to all Australians. Because when Labor and the Greens run out of their subsidies and their excuses for their terrible policies, and trust me, they already have, they will go after you, everyday Aussies, the normal people who just want lower bills, safer streets, and honest politics. And you'll be labelled far right, you'll be called a Nazi, and they'll smear you and try to shut you down. But don't let that scare you into silence, because the truth is, standing up for common sense doesn't make you far right. It makes you an Aussie who still believes in reality. And here's the bottom line, if having common sense makes you far right, then that tells you how far left our leaders have drifted. What's your thought?
Well, let's say how far they've drifted left, Caz, and I shouldn't really do this, but guys, I carry this thing everywhere, and I'm just waiting because eventually they're going to pick me up. But you know what it is, all right? These things are worth an absolute mint, right? And we got 3 or 4 of them here. Why? Because we live on a boat. And apart from that, Mel's always had one ever since I met her, all right? But I wonder how long it'll be before, if I carry this in my backpack like I always do, it's always on me, that I'm going to get hit by a metal detector, and is this going to be classified as a weapon? Yes. My Leatherman? Yes. You know, save someone's life if they're in an accident, to cut the seatbelt, or maybe if they couldn't breathe, I could actually cut their throat and whack a pen tube in there, you know what I mean? Save their life. Yeah, but no doubt, these things, you won't be allowed to have them, guys. No, there's a test. Let's see what happens now.
So Albo was with Starmer. Now, listen to this. This is actually very good. The full clip will be available on the website. Go and watch the full clip. We'll just play a bit of it here.
Digging. I'm a keen user of X, and every now and then I see something trending or a buzzword floating around, and I think I'm going to have to look into that, won't I? And people have been making a mention of the Fabian Society. Now, I've heard of the Fabian Society lots before. I was well aware that it existed. I'm sure in my career as a journalist I might have interviewed people representing the Fabian Society. I knew it was a left-wing think tank that publishes research papers, and the various Labour Party politicians are connected to it, and I thought, all right, that's that then. Nothing to see here, nothing weird about that. Lots of right-wing think tanks, aren't there? The IEA, Policy Exchange, various affiliated MPs, even prime ministers. And so I just thought that, yeah, anything that sort of digs around in the weeds there and tries to make it sound like something more than it is just pure conspiracy theory. But then, I was sitting on the train and thought, I'm going to have a look at this. And so I went on their website and I started looking at some of the examples of their research papers, things like why we should have no borders whatsoever, etc. I then looked at their bragging rights over who their members, and we're not just talking about members sort of loosely associated. We're talking sort of sit on the executive committee, all work together. We're talking sort of cabal level involvement. And they proudly boast that all the Labour Prime Ministers have been Fabian, and that half of Sir Keir Starmer's cabinet are not just sort of associated, but eyeball deep in the Fabian Society. And I was like, okay, right, so all of our Labour politicians, seemingly, who have any positions of power, come from this. Then I found out it wasn't just politicians. Oh no, heads of quangos, the Governor of the Bank of England, loads of people are connected to this. And they have pretty radical ideas about the world. And then I thought, well, okay, what do we know? And you look at their original emblem, which is a wolf wearing a wolf in sheep's clothing, and they basically say, we want radical global socialism, but we're not going to do it via revolution. No, we're going to be the wolf in sheep's clothing, quite literally. They changed that emblem to a turtle. Again, this idea that, slowly won't suspect us of anything, but before you know it, guess what? Your Western values, your culture, your customs, your heritage, your capitalism, your progress, your profitability, your prosperity, all of it is going to be destroyed, even the concept of a nation state, because that is their radical end goal.
Now, she goes on to say that she's got 2 guests on there that are experts on the Fabians. One of the things that he outlines is somebody who's completely incompetent. He goes, somebody who's, it's not merit-based. What it is it's an easy way up for people who are incompetent. And then you have this little snippet here by John Wilson.
He worked for us for 3 years What
was he like as a person?
A pissant.
Tell us more, please.
Well, he's a pissant, mate. He's an intellectual pygmy. He was no big deal when we employed him. I cut him a lot of slack because he was young. He was young, right? And he was not impressive at all. The work that he did was ordinary, and he went on to become Prime Minister.
What work did he do? What kind of...
Organising, what we call organising works for a union, and that means meeting, greeting, networking, sharing information, organising. So he worked organising for our union, mainly inside the universities, right? We wanted to make strong connections and strong relationships with the young people of Australia, and he was the contact.
Now, I've been told by people who have known Albo through the years that he was never a contender as far as, like, he was an all right kind of bloke, but he just didn't, like, there was nothing remarkable about him at all. And here he is, he's basically running the country. So you kind of got to wonder when things like that happen. And yeah, we know that Julia Gillard was a proud Fabian. So anyway, did you want to comment on that? Because we've actually got an Albo satire, but it's one of those things that it's only just satire.
Look, we know. Yeah, there's no Rumble tonight, guys. There's no Rumble live. We can't go live there, and it doesn't look like there's any lives up on Rumble at the moment. So something's going on with Rumble. We don't know what it is. We'll just try again tomorrow night, see how we go.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah,
so,
as for Albo and that, yeah, guys, we know the secret societies, okay, and we know how they do it, and and they pick dubbos, right? Absolute idiots, like you've seen. Look at this clown. Floating around the world thinking he's a big knob. He's just an absolute unit. It's got to be a show. Really, like, wow.
Yeah. Well, as I said, this one's satire, but only just.
Today, I'm very proud to announce the establishment of our new Agricultural Transformation Authority, the ATA, tasked with helping Australian farmers transition from their outdated practice of actual farming to a more progressive food production methods. The ATA will assist farmers in 3 key ways. First, our land liberation program, which will free farmers from the burden of private property by offering them generous compensation of up to 15% of their land's value to voluntarily surrender their farms. Those who decline our voluntary program will be subject to our equally generous involuntary program. Second, our agricultural re-education initiative will teach former farmers valuable new skills like insect farming, synthetic protein monitoring, and how to serve as tour guides when their former properties become climate change museums. Third, our rural collectivisation strategy through collectives. We've already identified 2,000 problematic food producers, mainly independent meat and dairy farmers who still insist on feeding their local communities instead of serving the greater global good. The ATA will focus its initial efforts on these counter-revolutionary elements. By 2030, we'll have transformed Australian agriculture from an outdated system of independent food production to a glorious network of centrally managed food processing facilities. From the withered farms of the individualist past will rise the vertical gardens of our collective future. Let the ruling classes tremble at an agricultural revolution. The farmers have nothing to lose but their...
That's not that far from the truth. Not that far from the truth, is it?
I know.
Yeah.
I know, that's the thing, isn't it? Look, I just want to play a bit of this VPN, because this VPN thing with YouTube may actually be why Rumble is having
Make sure you guys check your emails, because you might have gotten a pretty interesting update. A lot of YouTube Premium users have gotten this email saying, we are updating the terms of service for YouTube Premium, YouTube Music Premium, and YouTube Premium Lite subscriptions. These new terms will be included in the YouTube paid service terms of service and will go into effect on September 26, 2025. We are making these changes to improve clarity and transparency regarding your subscription, including clarifying our plan types, explaining our policies on promotional offers and accepting payment methods, and clarifying that your subscription access should be predominantly from the country where you signed up, providing additional explanations and clarifications on our subscription policies. So why does this matter? matter? Well, a lot of people would use a VPN, like NordVPN, for example, to basically change their location to a different country where YouTube Premium is a cheaper price. YouTube Premium's price is not like a fixed amount of dollars. It's actually dependent on what country you're from. For example, if you set your VPN to Argentina, you'd be able to get a pretty nice and cheap price for YouTube Premium, but obviously YouTube doesn't want that to happen. So a lot of premium users are getting an email saying basically you need to make sure that when you're paying for YouTube Premium, you aren't using a VPN to change your location. And if you do change your location, then you can actually be suspended from YouTube.
Now, I'm wondering if that's just a ruse. I'm wondering if the real reason is because they don't want, because everyone's looking to VPNs because of the censorship that's coming in, and I'm actually thinking that actually might be a bit of a ruse. And plus, on that with the Keir Starmer thing, I forgot to bring this in before. So this is Multiverse. The company chosen to produce the UK's digital ID app was founded by Ewan Blair. Yep, the son of Tony Blair.
They're all in it together. He'd be a patsy. He'd just be a setup.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you've got this report by Sherry
passed by the United Nations this weekend called the Pact of the Future document. It is quite egregious, and it was done by a procedure called the silence procedure, which makes it a pact. And if no one objected, it is automatically adopted and put into the record as being completely adopted. This is the World Health Organization's runaround, or end around. Since they were not able to get the World Health Organization treaty passed, they decided to take it to the General Assembly. And it is even more egregious than what the World Health Organization was wanting to get passed. Let me just read you something really quickly about what is inside of this pact that is now being accepted by 193 nations around the world and equally open-armed accepted by our current administration. Everyone, it says that this is the power structure, fully digital and maximized for the control of the masses. Everyone will be expected to have a biometric digital ID that marks them not just as citizens of an individual country, but as a global citizen. So anytime you hear global citizen or anytime you hear sustainability, think that this is an egregious thing that's happening at the level of the World Health Organization and the United Nations. Anyone that has a dissonant opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation and memory hold. Perpetrators for unapproved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations. These are unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions about our country, our sovereignty around the world.
Yeah, good luck with that, guys. Good luck with that. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's bring on the flyers. And the Mondays at Maggie's crew is calling for tools down. It's time to stand together. A corrupt and tyrannical government is crushing industries, stripping freedoms and silencing voices. So join us every Monday at the Governor's House in Sydney at 11 a.m. And on Mondays, don't forget Mondays at Maggie's, the Frank and Charles podcast. They will be hitting the streets this week. Mondays at Maggie's. And on Saturday, the 22nd of November, there is an Abolish Abortion Australia conference. This will be featuring T. Russell Hunter. And in Victoria, we have the following events. In Melbourne, gather at the Governor's every Saturday to end the tyranny. 10 a.m. every Saturday at the Governor Gates. And join the Justice of the People in Melbourne every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. for a remembrance at the Shrine of Remembrance. And the Too Much for Australia events that are free of NSN will be one in Wodonga at Lesstone Park on Sunday the 19th of October at 12 p.m. and the one in Brisbane at Roma Street, Parkland, 12 p.m. And the Vax Bus is at it again with the Vaccine Injury Bus Tour. The dates will be 10th of November, Wollongong, 11th of November, Kiama, 12th of November, Nowra, 13th of November, Ulladulla, 14th of November, Narooma, 15th of November, Merimbula, 16th of November, Yass, 17th of November, Goulburn, and 18th of November, Bowral. And there is a court call-out for court support for Rocco versus the Tamworth Council on the 23rd of October for non-payment of rates at the James Madison Tower, Sydney. There will be an 8:32 muster at Rollins Plains, New South Wales, mid-north coast. It is a great family weekend. It will be held on October the 3rd to the 6th. And every day there is a daily prayer space held on X. It's at 3 p.m. Melissa 14623 We haven't really covered a lot of the situations with the Christians being tortured around the world, but this is what's going on in Nigeria. So this church has been burnt down, and they're slaughtering the Nigerian Christians, and still they're praising God.
We praise your name, Jesus, Lord, to protect us, to guide us, Lord, to see us through, to fight for us, to give us hope.
And here's just two little things here. So last year, the Muslims killed 500,000 Christians, and that was only in Nigeria. But all anyone ever talks about is Palestine. And this girl here, this is just to put a face to what's been going on. So this is Deborah Samuel. So hundreds of Muslim men in Nigeria dragged her from her room, stoned her, set her on fire because she identified as a Christian in a college WhatsApp group. They recorded the murder and laughed as they killed her. And it hasn't been widely reported, of course, because they never like to do that.
Sick, man.
Well, it needs reform. There's no doubt about that. Like, I mean, I know that a lot of Muslims are really good people. Got friends that are Muslims. I'm not saying that, but these things can't be allowed to go on, and especially not in this country as well. So this Muslim mother plunged a kitchen knife into her daughter's back in a fit of rage after discovering that she'd converted to Christianity and was sexually active. So, you know, you have that situation, and then there's this one as well. So a gang rape woman is a bailable offence now. So four Muslim men gang raped a young Aussie woman for 6 hours, and they've actually gotten bail. Yeah,
and he's still in his barber shop cutting hair, telling people about it, bragging about it, as far as I know.
Just disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. But, you know, one of the things that we have to remember too is the reason why is because Christianity is so powerful. This is a testimony from somebody who was a former Luciferian.
And I knew that Christianity was the truth because that's the only religion that the occult's afraid of.
Okay, you got to say it again, man.
That's the only religion that the occult, these Luciferians, is afraid. That's the only religion they're afraid of because that's the only one that has power. It's the only one that has power. Buddha, the devil, is not afraid of Buddha. The devil's not afraid of Muhammad. He's not afraid of Krishna. You know, and no disrespect to people, but they're not. It's a false religion, bro. So why would the devil be afraid of something that he created?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? The gospel is the only thing that the devil couldn't create. It's the only thing. And so that's why, look at it. We just saw recently with Hollywood, they had cast, it was like a lesbian black woman to play Jesus Christ.
Yes.
They don't do that with Islam. They don't do that with
Never.
Why? Because there's no weight in those religions. There's no weight in the spirit. Like none. Like we see time and time again that Christianity is the only thing that's mocked. They won't even report about Christian persecution. 70 Christians get beheaded in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and where's the news media at? The only major outlet I saw reported was Fox News, and that was like 5 days after the story had already gotten really big. But guarantee if there was...
So the website is available on the thing, on the website.
You don't need to know anything else except exactly what that guy just told you, mate. The only one that the devil's worried about is you good people out there, you Christians.
Well, that's it. And, you know, there's so much news going on that really big news is being missed. Now, this is a big deal. So this is a Soros ally, and it's Howard Rubin. It's actually one of his bankers, I believe. And he's been arrested and his assistant, Jennifer Powers, federally arrested for commercial sex trafficking, torturing women in a secret penthouse and sex dungeon, and silencing them with NDAs. Now, why that's important is, like, I'm pretty sure I remember that story from years ago, and nothing happened because I'm pretty sure that he had an international passport under the UN or something.
Yeah, diplomatic immunity.
I'm pretty sure he had diplomatic immunity. So I don't know what's going on. Well, I do know what's going on. Something is definitely going on. But when you see stuff like this, like these people don't go down. That doesn't matter, okay? And he had NDAs even to back him up. So these people don't go down just for nothing. Like something big is actually going on when you see stuff like that happening.
Yeah, there's a lot in the background. Yeah,
there is a lot. And then there's this. This is my favorite story.
Breaking now. President Donald J. Trump has announced a historic new healthcare system, the launch of America's first MedBed hospitals and a national MedBed card for every citizen.
Every American will soon receive their own MedBed card. With it, you'll have guaranteed access to our new hospitals led by the top doctors in the nation, equipped with the most advanced technology in the world. These facilities are safe, modern, and designed to restore every citizen to full health and strength. This is the beginning of a new era in American healthcare.
In this first phase, only a limited number of MedBed cards will be released. Registration details will be announced very soon.
Now explain that, Caz. You have everyone going, well.
Yeah, so that was AI generated, but it was put up by one of his assistants, and then it was removed, and apparently a statement issued. And then he's followed it up the next day on his True Social, and I went and checked it. It is there. Both of them were there. I went and checked.
Can revolutionize senior health care. We've all heard about the major systems in our bodies, like the digestive, respiratory, nervous, and cardiovascular systems. But there's one essential system discovered in the 90s that you probably never heard of. It makes all of the other systems work smoothly with each other. Like a conductor, ensuring the different sections of an orchestra all play a beautiful symphony together. This system is called the endocannabinoid system. It has been acknowledged and studied by scientists extensively with support from the National Institutes of Health. As we age, this...
So I think what he's doing is, well, first of all, I think what he's doing is he's testing the water. I don't think it's a mistake. I actually think it was put out to just test the water, and basically Trump does this. He just basically puts things out, throws things out, and then basically everyone goes, and then he just basically moves on, and then he revisits things. But then what's happened is I've noticed all of the frequencies have been trending. The Rife technology has been trending. People are actually doing their own research on it. And this one, which I was unaware of.
Yesterday, I did what I love to do. I stopped by the thrift store to check out the book section to see what I could find in the health and wellness books. This is what I found. Mental and Elemental Nutrients. This book is older than I am. I'm going to read you the inside of the cover. Schizophrenics return to normal functioning. Hyperactivity and mental disabilities in children alleviated. The effects of aging reversed. Psychosis reduced. These results have been achieved and observed by Dr. Carl C. Pfeiffer and his staff. Not by drugs and the conventional psychotherapy, but by restoring their patients' nutritional balances. Dr. Pfeiffer's research, practice, and entire experience as director of Princeton's Brain Biocenter made inescapably clear the fact that many mental conditions derive from bodily malfunction, specifically from the absence of vital nutrients in the body. The cause of this may be an abnormal loss of trace mineral, an inability to keep a normal blood sugar level, outright poisoning from pollutants, or simply adherence to our modern diet and prepackaged foods, empty calorie snacks, and processed and unadulterated foodstuffs. We are not sick because we are choosing to be. We're sick because we don't have the right information. Start doing your own research.
So all of the, what is it, whether he's put it out or not, or accidental, I don't know, but the fruit is the same as with the Erica Kirk situation. Everybody suddenly become an anon, and now all of these people are basically posting all of these alternative therapies everywhere that have been around for a long time. So it looks to me like it's orchestrated. It's looked like they've put one of these things together into one of those predictive machines, and it's said that they'll come back. It'll come back as though, yeah, this is what the effect that it'll have. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on it?
Exactly what Belinda Repton wrote there. My people will perish from lack of knowledge. Yeah, look, I think anything could be happening here, Caz. There's been a lot of stuff that, and we do know, look, I know enough about like looking at frequencies and stuff like that. As you said, now the perfect ratio, stuff is out there. They're allowing it out there. Okay, they're allowing it, guys. It's on TikTok. It's the ratios are there. You can just sit there and listen to it. And I'm telling you, when you do listen to it and you meditate on it, them frequencies are in, especially that guy. Anyway, yeah, there's someone on TikTok. I can't remember his name, but he's a blonde-headed guy. And he was the one that sort of started on TikTok doing it. And, yeah, it's incredible, the feeling, irritates some people, doesn't irritate others, you know what I mean? But if it's irritating you, I'd say that something's out of balance, all right, because these are the perfect harmonic frequencies. So if that's irritating you, it tells me that something just ain't vibrating right in you. It's only my thought. That's just my thought.
Now I'm just going to pop this one into the see if everyone wants to sign it in the chat. So this is to stop the toxic fire ant program. So I'll put that down there. And other than that, we are being taken out tonight by Jelly Roll's new song. So, Dave, if you would like to wrap up, I shall hit play and close the show.
You want to whack that in the private chat, Mel just said, Caz, if you can. Yeah. Okay, guys, I think, as we said, week by week, this thing's just progressing along. All right. And are we progressing along? Yeah, I think we have. Okay, I think with the start of the, the March season coming into spring, I think all that's worked pretty well. But I think we got a lot further to go, guys. So you Christians out there, are you ready to stand? Because I think it is time that we actually get ready and get prepared, right? And make sure that we are prepared to go for a little while, because this country does need standing down. Evil is running amok. And I do believe that we are going to see that come to Australia. Okay, I do believe that. Okay, but there's no use. Look, there's use to marches. I don't, you know me, guys. I've been in on them all the time. Why? Because I love the social effect. Okay, it's great. We all need to get together. Iron on iron sharpens. It's good for us. But now, at this part of the war, we need to be doing stuff that actually, has solutions. All right, has some purpose. Protest with purpose. Okay. Well, a protest with purpose would be everyone get prepared. I think we need to slow the beast, guys. We'll talk about it more as, more goes on in the background. But I do believe, and God will put his hand on it, and God will do it. If it's a thing that's meant to be done, it'll happen. So are you prepared? Are you ready? Or are you going to be like Jonah and go, no, I'm not doing that, and just, and get spat into the belly of the whale, and taken out for a little while, doing nothing, when you could have been exactly where you're about to get spat out. If you don't understand what I mean, guys, is you're going to get to the same place anyway. If God's asked you to get there, get there. Don't make him pick you up in a whale belly, take you over here, and all that time that you're not there, things are getting worse. And then you come out and you get spat on the same beach you were supposed to be at. Are you ready to go? You ready to stand up for what God put you here for? I am. My wife is, Caz is. And I know a lot of people out there are. But have a think about it, guys. Are you ready? Because I think it's time. We have no other option. This country's going to shit in a handbag real quick. All right, good night, guys. Yeah, I can't wait neither, Franco. Good night.
when the weight of the world is heavy on me, when the night feels cold and I can't find peace, I lift my eyes to the heavens above. You hold me close in unfailing love. Lord, you are my strength, my song in the night. You carry my soul, you fight all my fights. In you I will trust, forever I'll stand. My refuge, my Savior, holding my hand when my spirit